Good afternoon. Please welcome to the stage Mayor Bonnie Crombie.
Well, hello everyone. Are we excited today? I know I am. Bonjour. Good afternoon. What an exciting day this is, not only for the team here at AstraZeneca, but for our city as a whole. I want to thank Kirsten Combs and, of course, Pascal Soriot for inviting us all to join you here today for this very exciting announcement. And I want to start today's event with a brief land acknowledgement. Today we stand on the lands which constitute the present-day city of Mississauga as being part of the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Huron-Wendat and Wyandot nations. We recognize these peoples and their ancestors as people who inhabited these lands since time immemorial. The city of Mississauga is home to many global Indigenous peoples, and we formally recognize the Anishinaabe origins of our name and continue to make Mississauga a safe space for all Indigenous peoples. Thank you. I'd also like to warmly welcome to Mississauga the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, Premier Doug Ford, and of course, all the federal and provincial ministers and MPs and MPPs, all levels of government. My councillor, Stephen Dasko, is here with me as well. Thank you, Stephen, for joining us too. What a great way to start off our week here in Mississauga. Your presence, along with the hundreds, I think there are thousands actually, of employees here today speaks volumes about the excitement around this announcement. Mississauga is proud to be one of the country's leading hubs for life sciences. The second largest hub for life sciences in the country, in fact, and that's largely thanks to leading biopharma companies like AstraZeneca, who are pushing the envelope when it comes to research and innovation. They are part of over 500 companies who have chosen to invest here in Mississauga and build our life sciences ecosystem, helping grow our economy and create highly skilled jobs right here in the city of Mississauga. We want to be the place where research and development in health sciences is conducted, where innovative medicines are manufactured, and ultimately that they make their way to our local hospitals to save or improve people's lives. And that's exactly the type of R&D work AstraZeneca is doing right here in Mississauga as a global clinical hub for cancer, biopharmaceuticals, and rare disease research. We understand the promise and future of life sciences, which is why Mississauga is one of the only cities with a dedicated strategy to help support the growth of this sector. And I want to thank Jackie on our economic development team for the work she's been doing, not only with AstraZeneca, but right across the entire sector to attract investment and to build a talent pipeline. I know our provincial and federal partners also share our enthusiasm, and today is proof that our strategies are working and that together we can achieve great things. I want everyone here to know that the team here at AstraZeneca are true leaders in more ways than one. They are invested in their people, in creating an inclusive workplace where their employees feel valued, while also giving back to the environment and community through their charitable efforts. Having just met with their employees a few months ago, I can tell you it shows. You can not only feel their energy and their passion for the work that they're doing here, but also their desire to be part of something bigger, which is the reason that we're all here together today, to celebrate AstraZeneca's bright and promising future right here in Mississauga. So thank you, Kirsten and Pascal, for choosing Mississauga and for investing in the potential of our city, in our people, and our future. Kirsten, back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor Crombie. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kirsten Combs, and I am the president of AstraZeneca Canada. Thank you, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Premier Doug Ford, for being here today and sharing your perspective on this exciting announcement. In addition, I would like to thank many of you and recognize the number of elected officials that we also have here with us today. If you could, I would like to acknowledge each one of them and just hold your applause until the end. Make sure you'll get an applause that way. From the federal government, Minister of Health, Jean-Yves Duclos, Minister of Seniors, Kamal Khera, and from our Ontario government, Deputy Premier and Minister of Health, Sylvia Jones, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade, Vic Fedeli, Minister of Public and Business Services, Khalid Rashid, and from the City of Mississauga, Mayor Crombie and Councillor Stephen Dasko. In addition, thank you to the MPs who are in attendance: Sonia Sidhu, Shafqat Ali, Peter Fonseca, Francesco Sorbera, and the MPs Deepak Anand, Sharif Sabawi, Nina Tangri, and Rudy Cozzetto. Thank you and welcome. Every day at AstraZeneca, we are driven by our purpose of transforming the future of healthcare by unlocking the power of what science can do for people, society, and the planet. And with an industry-leading research pipeline and a growing scientific footprint, I believe there's never been a more exciting time for AstraZeneca in Canada. In a moment, you will hear from AstraZeneca CEO Pascal Soriot about the scope of this major global investment in Canada research and development capabilities. You will also hear from Marc Denoyer, CEO of Alexion, AstraZeneca's rare disease business, and he will speak of the impact of today's announcement in advancing the development of needed treatments for rare disease. We very much appreciate your presence here today to help us make these announcements and also to spend time with our employees, connecting with them, getting to know them, and learning what we do here every day. And so with that, please help me welcome to the podium Pascal Soriot, CEO, AstraZeneca.
Thank you, Kirsten, and good afternoon, everybody. It's really a fantastic opportunity for me to be here today in Canada and to welcome so many distinguished guests. Canada is an amazing country, and some of you may know the French love Canadians. So it's always a great pleasure for me to be here. Canadians are really special people, as I was telling our employees this morning. They're very enthusiastic, very talented, very engaged, but also they get things done. And you know, being here is always a great pleasure. And on top of it, being able to speak French to the Prime Minister of this country is, of course, a special event. It's also a very diverse country, and you know that, of course, but for our company, we've been working on building a diverse workforce for many years. And Canada is certainly the most advanced of all our affiliates around the world. As the Premier actually remarked this morning, we have more women, more female leaders in this organization than males. And just looking at the people in the room, shows clearly that Canada is really a very diverse country, and that's really how we want our company to look like. A company made of people who are talented, come from many different walks of life, many different countries, and are simply in our company to share our common purpose, which is to follow the science to deliver innovative medicines to patients. So it's really my pleasure today to announce this investment in our Canadian R&D hub to increase our headcount here by 500 people, and it's only the beginning, because there's such a large talent pool here in Canada that we believe we can do a lot more here in Toronto, but also across Canada. We are running out of this organization, this site, today we are already running 120 clinical trials around the world that are managed from here, and there's a lot more to come. We have, as a company, 170 projects in our pipeline. We have one of the most robust new products pipeline in our industry. We start this year, we are starting 30 new phase 3 trials, which is a big undertaking for any pharma company. So 30 new trials is an enormous undertaking. And this site will play a big role in these programs and in more to come. There is in our industry, in medicine I should say, but also affecting our industry, 3 revolutions. One is the revolution of biology, where the mechanism, the understanding of biology of diseases is really increasing rapidly. The understanding of the biology of cancer today has nothing to do with where we were like 10, 20 years ago. And so we've seen the emergence of a large number of new technologies, new products that can address these very specific aspects of cancer biology. The second revolution is technology. We all talk about digital, but that affects our industry in a big way. Also, diagnostic techniques have progressed a lot, and this is important to be able to deliver the right medicine to the right patient by diagnosing them early, but also diagnosing the type of disease they have and the type of medicine they need. We're using what we call ctDNA, which is tumor DNA, looking at DNA of a tumor in the blood of a patient to identify early the type of tumor they may have. And the third biology is data and AI. And that is affecting us, our industry a lot. And if we can harness those 3 revolutions, we can actually completely change medicine by addressing patients and screening patients, diagnosing patients early, treating them with the medicine they need, the absolute targeted medicine that will affect their disease. And in doing this, we will, of course, improve the health of people, but we will also, I believe, reduce the cost of healthcare, because if you diagnose a cancer patient early, you can treat them with surgery or medical treatment, cure them, as opposed to waiting for them to become metastatic and, of course, being in bad health, but also costing a lot of money. And finally, we can also save a lot of carbon, because people don't know, but the healthcare services actually produce 4% of carbon emissions in the world. That's on average in the world, but in advanced countries like the US, and I'm sure it's the same in Canada, 8% of carbon emissions come from the healthcare sector. And it's mostly in hospitals. So going to a hospital is bad for you, bad for your health, but you cost money, and also you generate a lot of carbon. So if we can keep people out of the hospital and cure them quickly, we will really affect people, but also countries and societies in a big way. And that's what we're trying to do. We work on this biology dimension. We work on a whole variety of technologies, antibody-drug conjugates, immunotherapies for cancer. We also work on cell therapies, gene therapies these days, ctDNA, as I said. We're working on diagnostic technologies. We have a large team of people around the world working on new diagnostic techniques, screening techniques that we do in collaboration with biotech companies, but also diagnostics techniques. We work on computational pathology to help pathologists diagnose cancers. And finally, we have 600 data scientists around the world, harnessing this data and this biology to come up with new medicines. And what better place to do this even better than Canada? You have all the talent you need here. You have universities, you have great people that are committed. You have data scientists, you have AI scientists, you have people who deal with digital technologies, you have fantastic doctors, many hospitals around here, academic centers, but also across Canada. So this is really, for us, a great place suddenly to invest, and that's why it's my great pleasure to announce today this substantial investment we're making, and as I said, there's more to come. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a real pleasure to be here, and Prime Minister, it's also a pleasure to have you with us here today and to invite you to the podium. Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup, Pascal. C'est un grand plaisir d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui. Je suis très content de pouvoir enfin vous rencontrer après bien des conversations au téléphone pendant les difficultés de la pandémie où AstraZeneca a été un partenaire essentiel pour le Canada et pour le monde. Merci beaucoup. Je suis très ravi d'être ici aujourd'hui avec les ministres Duclos et Kara, ainsi qu'avec les membres de notre équipe, le député local Peter Fonseca, aussi Charles Souza, Equinder Gahir, Shafkat Ali, Sonia Sidhu, Ruby Sahota, and Francesco Sabara. Premier Ford, Mayor Crombie, always great to see you both again as well. I want to thank Marc Dunoyer of Election and Kirsten Combs of AstraZeneca Canada as well for being here with us and organizing this gathering. I know there's many people from the research community here today, and this is a really exciting announcement that will create good, highly skilled scientific jobs, invest in leading research, and develop new treatments. Since we announced a few weeks ago our plan to strengthen public universal healthcare systems, I've been meeting with healthcare workers and students here in Ontario, in Nova Scotia last week, later this week in British Columbia, and whoever I meet with, from personal support workers to nurses to doctors to medical students, they all share the same goal as we do, providing the best possible care for Canadians. This is what mattered during the pandemic and what matters today, keeping people healthy, making sure they have access to the care they need. Nous avons annoncé des investissements majeurs et nous travaillons également avec les provinces et territoires à l'élaboration d'ententes bilatérales qui permettront d'apporter de véritables améliorations aux services de soins de santé, des améliorations concrètes pour les gens, un accès accru aux médecins de famille, une réduction des temps d'attente pour les rendez-vous et les procédures, des soins améliorés en matière de santé mentale et de toxicomanie, et un système modernisé qui vous permettra de transmettre en toute sécurité vos informations médicales à votre équipe de soins de santé. In under 3 weeks, we've now signed agreements in principle with over half the provinces and territories, including Ontario, which was one of the first. We signed with Manitoba just on Friday, and this morning we announced another agreement in principle with Alberta. These agreements take us all one step closer to making the real improvements that Canadians deserve. We fully expect the rest of the provinces and territories to make this step with us very soon. Now, making sure Canadians have the best possible health care also means we're leading on research, on developing life-changing treatments, and in strengthening our ability to make the vaccines and medicines people need today. This is exactly why we're here. AstraZeneca is making a major investment to expand their research and development hub here in Mississauga, and it'll continue its important research on cancers, on COVID-19, and chronic kidney diseases, amongst many others. The company will also create a new hub to research rare diseases, and with tomorrow being Rare Disease Day, it couldn't be timelier. This expansion will create 500 more good middle-class jobs here in the GTA. AstraZeneca is making this announcement in Canada because we have the talent, expertise, and scientific ecosystem a leading company like AstraZeneca is looking for. We have the hospitals that are on the forefront of care and research. We have world-class universities with the best scientists and researchers, and especially we have talented, well-educated, and driven workers. Over the past few years, our government has been making continued investments to strengthen this competitive advantage. Pascal was talking a little bit about the various aspects that makes Canada a good place to invest for a research-intensive, high-technology company. To name just a couple of them, he talked a lot about data, and that's a cornerstone of what we're building into our health systems for the future. We know that having reliable access to your own health information to make sure that if you show up at an emergency room, the local doctor will be able to see what tests you've had recently, who your specialists are, and what you've been treated for as necessary. But also making sure we can share data in secure and responsible ways right across the country to make sure we know what's happening, what works best, and how we can better support Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Data is extremely important. But how we deal with data is extremely important as well. That's where, and Pascal talked about AI, Canada is one of the world leaders on artificial intelligence. Researchers like Jeffrey Hinton here in Toronto, Joshua Bengio in Montreal, and others across the country, including Rick Sutton in Edmonton, demonstrated the power and impact of artificial intelligence, and that application to the pharmaceutical industry is key. Another one people don't necessarily think of is the intersection with quantum computing. We know that the amount of computing power required to even begin to simulate clinical trials in a way that's going to show promising paths is massive. Well, a few weeks ago, I was here in Toronto for an announcement around a quantum computing company that is able to do in a few seconds what would take an ordinary computer about 9,000 years. The kind of computing power that's being developed in Canada will have huge applications, including here in the biotech sector. So we're really pleased to continue to see global interest and confidence in what we're doing here, but mostly in what Canadians are doing here. Because across the country, we're not just building a critical capacity to produce vaccines and therapeutics, we're building a whole ecosystem. We're expanding our research network across universities, hospitals, and research centers. We're investing in innovations and high-performance tools and new facilities so Canadian researchers can continue to make breakthroughs the whole world needs. And we're building a more resilient future for our healthcare systems and for Canadians. And when global companies are looking at being able to develop drugs and solutions that'll work right around the world and the full diversity of the planet, well, what better place to come than Canada, where we understand that that diversity is a huge advantage here at home that also allows us to lead around the world. Alors, je veux à nouveau remercier Pascal, Marc et Kirsten et tous les gens impliqués dans cette très bonne nouvelle aujourd'hui. Les compagnies comme AstraZeneca savent que le Canada est un endroit idéal pour investir et innover. Notre gouvernement poursuit son travail pour attirer des investissements importants et stratégiques comme celui-ci. Et on va continuer de rendre notre secteur des biotechnologies encore plus dynamique et de développer notre talent d'ici. Our government is working so that scientists and future scientists can build a real career here at home while making a real difference around the world. We're building together a healthy and resilient future. We're building an economy that works for all Canadians. Merci beaucoup, mes chers amis.
Thank you, Prime Minister Trudeau. Thank you for your investment and support in growing the life sciences sector here in Canada and really bringing more innovation to make Canadians healthier. With that, please help me welcome to the podium Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford.
First of all, thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. And Kirsten, thank you for having us by, and Pascal, boy, I think a few of you were there, but my goodness, what a greeting we had over there, meeting all your employees. It's fantastic, and that's the backbone of any company. And it's great to be back here in Mississauga alongside Prime Minister Trudeau, Minister Fedeli, and Minister Jones, Minister Rashid, as we welcome another game-changing investment right here in Ontario. And I know, Mayor, you must be as happy as punch, another great investment in the city of Mississauga. I also want to recognize Minister Duclos and Minister Kira, and again, Mayor Crombie, and our local champions, MPP Sabawe, Anand, Tangri, Kusindova, and Cozetto, and all our federal partners too, all the federal MPs and municipal elected officials. And a big shout out, again, Pascal, Mark, and Kristen for putting this event on, and the entire team at AstraZeneca. And thank you for having us here today. My friends, our government has a plan to build more resilient economy and a stronger Ontario. It's a plan to attract good-paying jobs and new investments in communities right across this great province. We're making electricity more affordable. We're keeping taxes and fees low. We're cutting red tape and regulations, and we're also reducing the cost of doing business here in Ontario. As I mentioned to you, Pascal, over $7 billion of burden every single year are coming off the backs of companies to make sure that we create the environment and the conditions for companies to come here and thrive and prosper and grow. We're investing also in transit, roads, and highways to keep people and goods moving. And we're training the skilled workforce that companies need to grow and expand here in the province. And today, we are thrilled to see our plan in action. We're thrilled to welcome this announcement from AstraZeneca to expand its cutting-edge research facility right here in Mississauga. And I know, Pascal, you were saying about our universities, our number one selling feature when we go around the world with Minister Fedeli is the talent that we have. Our universities and colleges, the talent that we have, the brightest people anywhere in the world coming out of here in Ontario. This significant investment adds to the substantial investment that AstraZeneca has made in Canada since 2021 and will create 500 new great-paying jobs for Ontarians. It will increase the number of clinical trials in oncology and immunology, helping to accelerate the development of innovative therapeutic drugs and vaccines for patients in Ontario, but also around the world. This investment is a huge vote of confidence in Ontario, in our thriving research ecosystem, our world-class universities and colleges, as I mentioned earlier, and in our skilled workforce. It also reaffirms Ontario's position as a growing leader in the life sciences sector. My friends, the COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated the importance of having a strong life sciences sector, of building a domestic supply chain of personal protective equipment, critical medical supplies, and vaccines. And that's why last year our government released Ontario's Life Sciences Strategy. This strategy, the first of its kind in over a decade, serves as a roadmap to continue growing Ontario's biomanufacturing footprint and to continue making Ontario a leader as a life science hub. And over the past 2 years, Ontario has attracted, these are pretty good numbers, they have attracted almost $3 billion in investment into the sector. And as I name a few, I want to thank again the partnership that we've had with the federal government. It's second to none, attracting companies from all different sectors. But this also includes Sanofi, the $925 million state-of-the-art vaccine facility to meet growing demand for the flu vaccines, specifically for populations at greater risk of influenza. And Omnia Bio, $580 million investment for new cell and gene therapy manufacturing facility being built in Hamilton. These are the type of investments, along with AstraZeneca's investment announced today, will help to ensure that Made in Ontario solutions are available for future public health challenges that may arise. And we want Ontario to be the place where medical breakthroughs are discovered, commercialized, and developed into innovative products and services for the benefit of Ontarians and all Canadians. My friends, we're building a globally competitive economy, attracting billions of dollars in investment and thousands of new jobs in the auto sector and manufacturing and tech sector and in the life sciences. And we're not done yet. With our expertise, our world-class workers, our abundant natural resources, and our long history as Canada's economic engine, we are building a strong economy that will capitalize on every advantage that Ontario has. And while the world faces economic uncertainty, there's one thing I have complete confidence in, is Team Ontario and Team Canada spirit. And when we all come together, and I've said this conversation many times with other elected officials, when we all come together, our talented workers, our great partners in business like AstraZeneca, and all levels of government, I know we can accomplish incredible things. Together, we will build a stronger Ontario. Thank you again to AstraZeneca's team for the investment and for your continued confidence in our great province and our people. Thank you all, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier Ford, and thank you for championing the life sciences sector, as well as creating an environment for businesses to invest in Ontario. And now with that, please help me welcome to the stage Marc Denoyer, CEO of Alexion.
So thank you, Kirsten, and to our guest, thank you for joining us today. As Pascal has introduced earlier on, today we are also announcing the creation of the new Alexion Research and Development Hub for Rare Disease, which brings with it 150 new, highly skilled roles over the next 2 to 3 years. Based here in Mississauga, alongside our AstraZeneca colleagues, the Alexion Development Hub will be a center of excellence for the clinical development of new, life-transforming therapies for rare diseases, running clinical trials for patients from around the world, including Canada. For us, the importance of this investment is clear. Rare diseases still represent a significant unmet medical need. Of the more than 7,000 known rare diseases, about 95% do not have an approved treatment option available. So it gives you a perspective of the work that remains to be done. Globally, it is estimated that more than 400 million people are living or are impacted by rare disease, 3 million of whom live in Canada. In fact, roughly 1 out of 12 Canadians, 2/3 of them children, are affected by rare disease, emphasizing the devastating impact rare disease can have on an entire family and community. These statistics drive our purpose, which is to transform the life of people affected by rare disease, developing innovative medicine, as well as supportive technologies and healthcare services where there is currently an unmet need. The creation of this research hub is an extension to that mission, and we take great pride in knowing that it is life-saving work. Alexion has been committed to transforming the lives of people with rare disease for more than 30 years. Its first product was approved in 2007 in its first indication. And in Canada, we have been present since 2009. With today's announcement, we will be more than tripling the size of our operation in Mississauga to create one of the largest centers of clinical excellence and innovation dedicated to rare disease in North America. Alexion has been a pioneer in the treatment of rare disease, translating complex biology of the complement system, a key part of our innate immune system, into transformative medicines. We currently have more than 35 R&D programs with patients from 50 countries around the world, and roughly 82 ongoing clinical trials in areas such as hematology, nephrology, neurology, metabolic disorders, and ophthalmology. We are acutely aware of the unique challenges facing patients impacted by rare disease, where even getting an accurate diagnosis can take many years, and treatment options are often limited. The courage, tenacity, and grace with which patients, their caregivers, and families face the unknown is what inspires us to continue to do everything we can to help transform their lives. Our investment in R&D will continue to grow through our increased collaboration with AstraZeneca, and we are proud to be adding to our global R&D effort with the creation of this new development hub. As Pascal mentioned, the Greater Toronto Area is recognized for its